Hello friends, today in this tutorial I will be showing you a nice little library inside Express, which is JSON server. It's a node library, I think, which allows you to make REST API in minutes. And basically you have seen the fake REST API, which is called as JSON placeholder. It's a module of this website. I think you have probably used this website a lot. It's a free fake REST API which users or developers make requests to whenever they are trying to develop a quick backend. So we will also be trying to basically build out this API, backend API, fake REST API from a JSON file using json-server library. So we will be integrating it using Express here, and we have this simple form here. We will be displaying the data inside this table. Let's suppose we are having a data where we can write name here, and let's suppose I write this and I click add user. So you will see as I click the button, my one record has been added. You have seen we have buttons for editing, updating the user detail, and we also got deleting user. And let's suppose if I have one more record out there, you will see that. So if you see guys, we are storing all this data inside this file, which is which api.json. So you can see we are just storing this data inside this, so it's persistent. So if I refresh the page, the data will stay on the page. So it is existing, it is basically acting like a database. We are storing all the details inside this file here, and then we are fetching the details and listing out inside the table. And if you see guys, basically if you go to this address localhost API, you will see basically if you go to /API/users, you will see this is we are getting this data from here. And then if I need to edit the details, I will click on this button. If I click the button here, you will see that basically or automatically these details will pre-fill inside this. We can edit the name, we can change the age here. Click on update, you will see the user details have been updated. Similarly, if you want to click this update this one, you can change the name, age, country, you will see that. And then if I need to delete this, I can simply press this button. The record will be deleted, you will see that. And now if I refresh the page, no records has been there. So now if you see the JSON file, you will see users array is empty here. So it's storing an array of objects. So currently this file is empty. So it's a basically CRUD kind of an application. Here you can create records, here you can delete, update, all these things you can apply. You can list out all the users, you can just update the records. So you can just make it in minutes for any application. So if you're developing it, so I find this library to be very useful. You can definitely check out this. I think you can go to npm.js and simply type this json-server, and if you see, it basically mimics how you can make a full CRUD fake REST API. You will see it's a very popular module, which is over 240,000 weekly downloads are there. So you can generate a full REST API in 30 seconds, seriously. So basically it is used by many companies out there, so in order to generate a mock data. So if you want to globally install this module guys, you can also do that. If you don't want to integrate with Express, you can simply -g for globally installing it, and you can simply type json-server. So thereby you will be globally installing this module, and now after you install it, I have already installed it. So if you just type json-server, this command will be successful, and now you will be able to create a REST API in minutes, in seconds. So how to do this? It's very simple. I will first of all show you. Let me create a new directory here, cd fake rest, and I need to make this directory fake rest. I will cd into this and open this inside a new folder. So now you will see that it's an empty folder. Let me delete that, and let me close this and also close this window. So now this is a brand new project, guys. I have given all the source code of this project, guys, in the description of the video. So all the source code I will type in this video is given in the description of the video. You can check out my blog post, which is given in the description of the video. So now let's get started. So now to create a fake REST API, guys, without having to make an Express server, you can just type this API.json, and here you can simply, you also don't need to create this file. If you just basically inside this you type json-server and just type the name of the JSON file. So after you do this, automatically this file will be created. You will see automatically this test data will be inserted, and now it is saying to you that your test API has been generated, localhost 3000. So now if you are testing your, if you try to make a REST API, guys, it is no longer you need to use Express. You can see already it has created your API in seconds, 5 seconds. So now you can go to this endpoint here, /post/comments/profile. So what we need to do is that, if you see, if I need to go to this route here, I need to just refresh here. You will see that. So this is /post, and similarly we have this comments array here. This is, we have one object here, and similarly we have the profile here. You will see that. Sorry, profile. You can see that. So this is all coming through this JSON file, guys. If I have one more object here, I can simply have the ID, which is 2, title is title 2, and author, we can have one more author here, which is John. So now we just need to refresh this. So once we refresh, you will see, if I go to, so now there will be 2 posts out there. You will see that. And basically you can use a tool called as Postman in order to make this request update, delete, or edit, or you can make a front end inside Angular, React, Vue.js, or Express. So it's a very good library, guys, and now I will be showing you how to integrate this inside your Express application. So for this, guys, it's very simple. You need to simply make a package.json file first of all, npm init-y. So this will create basically your package.json file. And now we need to install the modules Express EJS. That's all. So this will install these modules. So now, first of all, guys, what we need to do, we need to construct a simple Express app here. So this app will listen on port 5000. So now, guys, we will simply have a GET request here. But before that, we need to apply the middleware function here of JSON web server. So we also need to install this library locally as well. So just type npm i json-server. So just install this library as well. After you install it, to start the server here. So now we need to import this. So we will say JSON server. So we just need to require it, JSON server. And right here, guys, we will simply apply this. We will just make use of JSON server middleware. We will make a variable, and here we will simply say JSON server, and it contains a method, guys, which is called as router. And whenever you try to integrate with here, you need to provide the path of the file. So here we will create api.json file here, and right here we will have an array of records out there. So we will simply say this is basically object, and it will contain a users array of object, and which is currently empty here. And here we will pass this path api.json. That's all. After you do that, guys, we will pass it as a middleware by using use method of Express, and here we will simply say /API. Will be the route here, and here we will simply say JSON-server middleware. That's all. We will pass this middleware function, so whenever someone goes to /API, this file will be routed api.json. That's all. This is meant by this. That's all. And after this, guys, we need to also set the view engine, which is EJS. I think we forgot to, yeah, EJS is installed. If you see package.json, EJS Express and JSON server. So after you do this, guys, we simply need to also import some body parser, which is necessary while we are working with forms. So we need to pass this middleware as well. Body parser URL encoded extended to false, and body parser JSON. So that's all, guys. And after that, when the user goes to the home page of the application app.get, we need to simply redirect the user to, we will simply say response.redirect, and here we will redirect the user to /users. So now we need to create this route app.get, and here we will list out all the users which are present inside the JSON file. So we will simply request response, and right here we will get the users here, and for this we will simply need to use file system module. So just import file system, and right here basically, guys, we will use json.parse, and here we will read all the content fs.read file synchronize, and here we will pass the path of the file, which is api.json, and basically it contains a property called as users that we have. If you see, we have the users array of objects. Let me just have one id, which is 1, and name John, age 21, and country USA. So we can have one more record here just for showing the, we can have 2 here. We can change this to Steve. We can change the age, and this will be Australia. That's all. So we have 2 records out there, guys. Now we need to display them on the screen. So after you do this, we need to pass this on the template response render, and we will call this template as users.ejs. We don't need to write extension here, and we will simply, and we can simply call this as list users, and then we can pass the data, which we can say data is equal to users. That's all. So we are passing the data into this template, guys, list users. So now we just need to construct this template here inside the views folder. So just create a views folder, and just create list users dot ejs. That's all. This will be a simple template, guys. Here we can include bootstrap. If you go to internet and just type here bootstrap CDN, you will find out the CDN that I'm talking about. So just paste this CDN, guys, and after the title, paste it. And right here, guys, we will basically have a simple container class of bootstrap, and here we will simply have a heading which is JSON server CRUD REST API in Express, and then we will simply have a form, guys, which is the method will be post, and inside this, guys, we will simply have a allow the user to enter the name, age, and country, and placeholder will be enter name. This will be required, and also we need to give it a name attribute to it. Name is equal to name, and then this will be number, where we allow to enter the h. This is also required, and lastly, which is for country. And then guys, we will have a simple button to add user. So we can simply add a bootstrap class. These are all bootstrap classes that I'm adding here. Button, let me say primary. And if you now refresh your application, it is, if I now open this, you will see a simple form, guys. You will see JSON server, CRUD, REST API, and Express. We have 3 fields out there, a button as well. And right here, we need to uh, have a break tag as well, just after, to create some space here. So after this, guys, we will have a table where we will be showing all the data that is there inside api.json. So we are passing this data inside this data variable. So right inside this, after this form ends here, we will have basically a if condition here. We will have if data. This is EJS syntax, guys, which is, we need to surround all this JavaScript inside like this percentage sign. So here we will have a simple table. We'll give it a class table stripe, bootstrap class, table head, and this will contain 3 columns here, which is name, age, country. And we also need to have buttons for editing, updating the details of the user and deleting as well. And right inside this table body type, guys, we will be looping through all the users that are passed here. So we will simply have basically a table row tag, and we will basically run a simple for each loop here. So we will say here data for each, and for each we have a user property here, and also we need to surround this using this bracket here. So we need to write inside this. So all the source code, guys, is given in the description of the video, so don't worry about it. And here, guys, in order to embed the variable, we need to put here equal to sign here, and then we will say user.name, and this will equal the name of the person. And similarly, we can render out the age and country. So this needs to be age, and this will be country. So if you just refresh here, guys, so you will see that name, age, country is been displayed here. So whatever is present inside the api.json file, you will see this is name, age, country, name, age, country. So if I add one more record out there, if I change the ID, so if I now refresh, so one more record is added here, you will see that. Now we also need to have buttons as well right here. So here we need to have a button, guys. So href tag, and basically we will be having a class here which is btn, and this will be info, and we will simply say edit user, and this will be for the delete button. I will put danger here and simply say delete user. So now you can see we have two buttons, which is for editing the user and deleting the user. So now the front end of the application is almost complete, guys. So now we simply need to design basically the functionality for these buttons. So whenever we click the edit user button and delete user button, and also this add user button. So now guys, for the functionality, it is very simple. Basically, whenever you can see inside this form here, we are making a post request to this route here, which is /users. So now we need to make this post request inside index.js. So right inside this, we will make this post request app.post and simply /users, and we will simply have request response. And here guys, we will first of all get all the data which is present inside the file by again using the same syntax that we used inside this. You will see I will copy this line of code here and simply paste it, because we will use the same line of code here to get all the existing users. Now we will create a new user, and this will be containing the properties ID. So ID will be unique, so date.now I will use this function. It will get the current date and time, and then name of the person, which will be getting request.body.name, and age request.body.age. And this basically guys, the name attribute should be present inside this, so that's why we have given these name attributes, name and name. So if you don't give this, this will give you error. And you will also need to get the country here, which is request.body.country. So after you construct this object guys, now we simply need to push this object inside the array, which is basically users.push. We will push this entry user like this. And now we need to simply write this file guys, once again, updated file, write file synchronize. Again, we will write this file api.json, and then we will simply again use the same line of code here. json.stringify, this time we will use json.stringify, and here we will write this object which is users, that's all. And once again guys, we will redirect the user to this route which is /users, that's all. So now what will happen, if you now fill out a name here, and let me now delete all this stuff here which is existing here. If I now go here and delete all that, so it is empty here, and if you refresh, nothing is there. If you and I try to click, now you can see that guys, it is already, I refresh it and this record stays here. You will see my record is, you will see that, you can see that, and you can see records are being successfully inserted. And if you check the file ID, basically you will see it has the unique ID, date and time. You will see that it is perfectly unique here, and this is name, age, country, whatever we have submitted right here. So now the creation process is successful. Now we need to simply click the delete process. When we click the delete button guys, I need to delete this from the entry and the JSON file. It's very simple. We need to basically bind a simple URL where we will make this request. So we will simply say /delete user / and we will pass the ID here. So the ID will be unique. So we will simply say user.id, that's all. So ID will be perfectly unique here. That's why we are passing it inside the parameters of the URL. Now we need to construct this get request here guys. We will simply go to index.js. You will simply say app.get and delete user, and this parameter ID will be dynamic. So we need to put here colon symbol just to signify that this ID parameter is unique every time. And now guys, we just need to construct this. It's very simple. For the delete request, we again need to get the current set of users by this line of code here. So I will simply copy this line. I don't need to write the same code once again, so that's why. And now guys, we need to get the user index of that user which matches this ID. So we will simply make use of this method, which is find index. And basically guys, it's a JavaScript method, vanilla JavaScript method, which allows you to find the index. You will say u.id, and we will simply have triple equal to sign, we will get the index of we will say parse int, and here we will simply say request.params.id. That's all. So we are getting this id inside, so that's why we use request.params.id. That's all. So we will get this index, and now we will check if user index triple equal to is -1, then in that case we will simply say that user doesn't exist. So we will simply say 404, we will send out a simple error message to the user that user not found. But if the user is found, then we will simply delete it by using the slice method of JavaScript. And here we will pass the user index here and pass 1 here. That's so this will remove it from the JSON file. Now once again we need to write this updated entry inside api.json. We will repeat the same process once again, json.stringify, and we will write this. So again we will redirect the user back to the /users. That's all. So this is basically all the code for deleting the user, guys, using its id parameter. We are using this find index and this slice method. So if you now refresh your application, guys, if I now press the delete button, you will see nothing happens. Let me see why it hasn't deleted. Let me now refresh. Let me inspect element, guys. Let me check if any sort of error has taken place. App.get delete user. Let me check if we are passing the correct ID. User.id. Let me see, guys. Delete user. If you check inside api.json, we have got the id parameter here, which is this id parameter. So we are getting this id parameter delete user. Question mark user.id. Let me just write this once again, guys. I think it can be some kind of error. If you just sometimes it can happen. Let me just, so you will see delete user. Let me change it to delete user id, and inside index.js we have this delete user. We are getting it like this. And also let me paste this code, guys, once again. I think some error has taken place. Let me just paste this code. So if I now refresh it, and now if I click the delete button, you will see that now the user is successfully deleted, guys. If I refresh the page, the user is gone. You will see, again click on delete, you will see that. And also the file doesn't contain any sort of records out there. If I need to create a record, you will see that I can create records, I can delete records. You can see that. So now the one functionality is remaining, guys. So whenever I add record, I need to update the details. So if I click edit user, I need to do the same thing. So now we will simply go to this button, and now I will write this edit or edit user, and here we will simply say pass the ID here of the user, which is user ID. That's all. So this is slightly complex, guys. For the edit operation, we need to first of all make a template for it. So right inside your views folder, you need to make edit user EJS file. This will be completely same, guys. So we need to completely copy paste this code which we have written for list users, and here we will simply change this to, instead of add user, to update user. And this action will go to edit user. That's all. And basically, yeah, edit user, and also here we will paste this which is data dot, sorry, user data id. So here guys, inside your index.js, we need to make a simple get request. So app.get edit user, and we will get the id as dynamic. So here we will simply load basically a template file guys. So first of all, we need to get the data for this. For getting the data of that user, we will again copy the same code. We will first of all get all the data here, and then we will simply apply a find operation. We will use the find method of JavaScript to basically find the user, which is id, which is given here. So we will get the index, user index, and then we will simply pass it to this template guys, which is edit user, which is edit user, and then we will pass the data. So here we need to pass two data here. First is the data property, which is users, which is holding all the users, and secondly the user, which where we need to perform the update operation, which is stored inside user. That's all. So we have got this user data property guys that we are using right here. We are getting user data.id, and similarly we need to also assign a pre-fill the values. So we will put value parameter here. So again we will just give this will be user data.name. So whenever you click the update button, these values will be pre-filled, auto written. So same thing we need to do for age as well. So now if you see guys basically what I'm talking about, and now if you click the edit user button, you need to simply refresh the application. You will see basically it will now change to update user, and all the details are pre-filled inside and it is written inside the input fields. Now you can modify the values, and again you can click the update user button. So once you click this update user, you will see inside the URL we have edit user, and this is basically the ID of the user, which is perfectly unique every time. And now we need to click this button. If I click this button, I need to update these values. So it is will be saying cannot post. So we need to make this post request. So now to make this post request, we need to go to index.js, and right inside here we need to make this post request. This will be really simple guys, which is app.post and edit user, and we will have the ID of the user here, request response. And similarly again we will first of all get all the users by this line of code here, which is json.parse. We will getting all the users from this file api.json, and then we will find out the index where the ID is passed here of the user. Similarly we have done, you can see that 2 lines of code we have written. So after this guys, we will basically send out a 404 error if the user is not found. If the user is found, in that case we will simply use object.assign method, and here we will pass the user, and we will update the user by request.body, whatever details are written. And then we will simply again do the same process, write this inside api.json, and we will redirect the user to the user area. That's all. Request here, that's all. This completes your application guys, and now if you refresh your application, if I add a user, click edit user, if I modify this value, change the age, click update user, you can see our details have been updated. Click edit here, click update, you can delete it. All sort of operations you can perform, guys. CRUD operations, this is basically a fake REST API developed inside Express using JSON server library, guys. So thank you very much for watching this video. All the source code is given in the description of the video. My blog post is written here. You can read this blog post alongside watching this tutorial. Thank you very much.